Okay, so now we've made it through to module 5, lesson 1, where we're going to talk about growing your client base. So the lessons so far have been very much focused on getting your freelance business started and finding your very first client or clients. So in this module, I wanted to give you some tools to help you to continue to grow your business beyond those very first clients. Because some of you will move fast and you will find that things are growing quite nicely and you need a little bit more. And I don't want you to end up getting stuck. So let's jump right on into this one. So a couple of things we're going to cover is maintaining relationships, and we're also going to cover keeping on growing. So maintaining relationships is a really, really important one. I think you've probably realized this from some of the other stuff we've talked about, where a lot of your first clients will come from, because really a lot of those tend to come to you through your existing relationships. So relationships are important in getting started, but they're also important in growing your business as well. So part of being successful is going to involve you and your work, of course. That's going to be really important. So you and your attitude, and the product that you produce from your work is really the best proof that you have to get your business growing. And so by that, what I mean is that once people get to know you, get to understand your work attitude, and get to understand that you produce a good product, they're much more likely to come back and use you another time, which means more business coming in. They're also much more likely to refer you on to other people that they know who might need help as well. So that's going to help you to grow your business as well. And then again, they're also likely to give you more likely to give you references, or write a review on your social media or that kind of thing. So again, that's going to help you to grow your business. That element of both word of mouth and social proof of people who've worked with you and think you're great. So the next thing I've got down there too is something else that I think is quite important as well, is not to have a too busy attitude. I can't remember where I heard this from, but someone mentioned this to me once about when you're talking to clients or even potential clients, is that a lot of people, when people say to you, oh, how's work going? And you'll be like, yeah, no, it's good, but it's really busy, really busy. We've got so much work, so busy. And then sometimes the effect of that is that people will go, oh gosh, they're so busy. Maybe they haven't got capacity to do more. And that's going to be something, I think we're all probably guilty of doing this, myself included, but that thing of saying, so say you've got a client who you're working with, and they might be thinking of getting you to do some more work, but if you say, oh gosh, I'm so busy, they might either hold off or send that work somewhere else. Or if you're saying, they might, like, you're really, really busy, they might think, oh, they were going to refer you to a friend, but maybe they won't. So even if you are really, really busy, that's kind of more about that managing expectations kind of thing. So when someone comes to you, then you can sort of say, okay, well, I've got space in my calendar here, rather than that approach of sort of really always being too busy. I mean, if you're too busy, you're too busy. If you don't want more work, well, that's that's fine. But often we sort of say it as a like a remark without really thinking about it, and sometimes that can have an impact on your business as well. I think I've covered this really, but referrals is one of the best ways for you to grow your business. And again, a lot of that's going to link back to your work and the relationships that you build with people through getting to know them, doing good work for them and that kind of thing. So referrals are really, really helpful. The next one I put on there is something you could consider. It's not something that I've needed to do, but I know some people do. So something like a loyalty program, where people get some sort of a reward system for being a regular customer. Sometimes it could be something like doing a subscription-based offering, where you might decide, well, now that you're a bit more established and you've got a good idea of what your customers need, you might start offering packages, so that if someone signs up for a package, you're sort of rewarding their loyalty by, maybe giving them a bit of a discount, or maybe, for every so many hours you give them a free one, or you might give them, if they commit to a regular, monthly number of hours, it might be at a lower hourly rate than it would be for your regular sort of one-off jobs. So think about whether there's something that you can do to help keep your customers coming back to you. The other thing too with that is that, maybe if you are able to sign people up on a term, so like a 6-month term, then that's really great for you, because you've got that guarantee of more work coming in over the longer term. And if you make it attractive to your customers, then by offering a discount or something like that, then it can be attractive to them as well. So another good way to maintain relationships as well are things like regular communications. I haven't talked about it really much in these lessons, because email lists are a whole other category of marketing, but it can be quite good for you to start building an email list. So you do have to get permission for people to collect emails, but it'll be those kinds of things where you see, often people will offer something like a free download, a free ebook, a free training course, or something like that. So if you decide to do something like that for your customers through your website, or if you do a newsletter or something like that, you might collect people's emails through something, an email collection software, or maybe through there's things like MailChimp, or there's a few different ones like that, where you can collect people's emails. Make sure you have their permission, because there are rules, so do your research on that. But if you have an email list, then you can send out regular communications. So that gives you the opportunity to contact people. You don't have to rely on social media then. You can ask your customers if you can add them to your email list, and then even if it's just a one-off customer and they're happy to be added to your email list, then it enables you to send them a newsletter of useful information, so that the next time that they're looking for help, they think of you. Something else that could be nice to do is to send out Christmas cards to your regular customers, just as a bit of a thank you, and to kind of remind them who you are. So that's always a nice little gesture. And you might have some people who you give special treatment, who you might just have like a calendar reminder in your in your calendar to send them an email where you go, oh, I remember that you had this big project coming up, how did that go, or something like that. Do you need any more help, things like that, where you might like to communicate with certain people in a special way, so that you can maintain relationships with them. So lots of things you can do. I'm sure you've got lots of other brilliant ideas to help you to maintain relationships as well, but it's just kind of being you, putting the extra effort in and going the extra mile for your customers is going to really help you. So if you're doing things to serve them well with your work, then that's going to help you with those relationships and to get those referrals. Okay, so once you've got those first clients and you've got really good relationships with those clients, you're going to want to keep on growing your clients. So those things we just talked about on the last slide, that's going to help you potentially to get more clients, but also, doing more of the things we talked about in earlier sessions about finding your first clients, continuing to be active and visible in things like Facebook groups, industry groups, going to networking meetings, getting to know people that way. So continuing to be active with that, and, continuing to be active in your own social media, or your LinkedIn page, those kind of things, so that you can keep being visible and people keep remembering you. As time goes on and you get more work, you might find it's not so necessary for you to be as active doing those things. You might be able to cut it back and not do quite as much, because you might find that you get more of the referral work coming through. But always good to keep on with those things to keep the flow coming in. And it's also good to remember too that things like social media, you want to keep the memory up, because it might be that you've got a good flow of work at the moment, but then if that changes in the future, at least then if people remember you and you've still, got good interaction on your social media pages and, people in those groups, that they're still going to remember you, so that, if some of the work dries up, then you're still sort of nurturing those other people. So keep that up. And if you get stuck, just remember, go back to module 3. So you can just do more of the same sort of work as you would do when you're finding your first clients. Okay, so I've just put this back in again as a bit of a reminder. So where to find your ideal client. So again, these are all things we've covered earlier, but just as a bit of a reminder. So if you're having trouble bringing in enough work, or if you're wanting to, just keep building relationships and keeping the work streams coming in, go back to those existing relationships. You could talk to people again, talk to friends in your industry, talk to other, past employers or current, maybe your most recent employer or your current employer if you're still working. Ask those people if they know any other people who are looking for help from someone like you. So same thing here as well. So keeping on communicating in those online groups, keep sharing your business, what you're up to, answering those questions. Just as a reminder, this is, you should be familiar with this by now, but this just is to remind you to go back to those basics and, when things get a bit slow, keep being seen, keep doing the work in those groups. Another reminder about some of those popular freelance websites. Again, if you're struggling to get enough work in, you might like to go check in on some of those and consider whether you want to create a listing there. Okay, so back to the action station. So my recommendation is to leave this module until you've got to the point where you have started to get that first client work in and you're growing your business. So while some of the stuff you will be doing in the early stages anyway, this is for you to come back to a little bit later once you've got your first jobs and you've got your first money coming in and you're starting to think about where the next clients are going to come from. But thinking about it now would give you an opportunity to think about how you're going to move once you get that first client to expand your business. You might like to think about this maybe a little bit in your planning process for the longer term aspects of your business further down the track. And again, coming back to those same things like you'll be doing when you first start your business, where your clients are likely to come from, and then from there, once you've got those first clients, how you can nurture those relationships to ensure that you continue to have good workflows into the future. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Module 5, Lesson 2, where we're going to talk about outsourcing.